South Korea and Japan love XRP. Matter of fact, South Korea was directly responsible for the last major pump in 2018 that brought XRP to its all-time high of $3.31. Now, when you toss some new and interesting developments with Japan into the mix, and then even add the rocket fuel of the SEC settlement, which we are now at the tail end of, things are starting to look quite exciting. So is it possible that these two countries will send XRP to new all-time highs again in the near future? Well, in this video, we'll be covering the new info surrounding Japan, South Korea, and the relationship to Ripple. We'll also be covering the macro outlook and why investors have been spooked recently, causing a sell-off in markets. We'll be diving a bit into a uniquely positioned company and how you can take advantage of the opportunity to own a piece of the digital asset future. Finally, we'll be covering this really interesting chart on XRP BTC that is starting to look extremely bullish and why right now would be a good time to load up on your XRP bag. So if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the richest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the channel, Bull Runners. Paul here, and it has been a rough 6 months for crypto investors in particular, because over the last 6 months, as Bitcoin has started to dump or put in new lows and range down, TradFi markets and the S&P 500 actually started trading up a bit. Well, now they're starting to dump, and we haven't really seen too much strength on the crypto side either. So left and right, all over social media, and even including on this channel, right, it can be kind of exhausting when people tell you, hey, look, this might be the final shakeout right before we hit some new all-time highs, and we're consistently buying these dips, and we're not really being rewarded for it. Well, I can tell you right now that the summer lull usually lasts about this long, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes it begins in May, maybe as late as June, but the rallies don't really start to take place until October. So yes, September can also be a relatively dry month with maybe another little shakeout, but from that point forward, I think things are going to start to look really bullish. So yesterday we covered this chart in particular, and it does look like we've experienced that capitulation zone. I do believe that we're somewhere in the range between anger and depression. So it is very much possible that we put in some new lows, but we really start to decline in terms of the volume to the downside. And then what's going to happen is we're going to start to enter this disbelief stage into the end of the year, which could really turn into the banana zone and some major blow off tops or all-time highs for cryptos, and that would include XRP. We're getting to that point. However, right now markets are still kind of worried. They're selling off, and we're going to cover just a few pieces of news surrounding that and why market investors are so spooked. So in this article, it is titled U.S. Recession Fears Hit the Financial Markets Again, and that many investors are nervous that the decision by the U.S. Federal Reserve on interest rates is too late and is behind the cycle. It is feared that even if the U.S. lowers rates over 2 weeks, it will have a limited effect on its economy that moves towards lower growth and higher unemployment. In other words, we're getting a lot of negative economic readings, and so those economic readings are likely to increase in the upcoming months as the Fed cuts rates for the very first time, but usually it's too little and too late. And the bond market is basically signaling this right now, as this post states that this hasn't happened in 35 years. The spread between the 2-year U.S. government bonds and the Fed's rates fell to negative 1.68%, the most in over 3 decades. In other words, bond markets expect the Fed to cut big in the next months. The Fed is behind the curve as never before. And so this is a really interesting time we're in. If the bond market, and these are big players with a lot of money, some of the smartest, most knowledgeable people in the entire game or field of investing, I should say, believe that the Fed is going to have to cut big. Well, there's only one reason the Fed would cut big and not small, and that would be because we are starting to see the market collapse or some really seriously negative economic indicators and readings, which could cause the markets to panic in a sell-off. And so for that reason alone, since we're getting all these readings, markets have been selling off pretty strongly. However, it's important to remember what we just mentioned. I do believe that it is very much possible we start to hit this anger zone right here. This is a price chart of Bitcoin into a depression zone where we continue to just trend down slowly. However, volume would consistently decline into these ranges. As you can see, we had a massive spike of volume right here for a major capitulation, and then we start to rally into a disbelief zone through sometime into the end of the year, whether it's in October, November, or maybe even December. However, by December, if we probably don't get new all-time highs, or at least a break above this downtrend right here, then it's likely we're not going to go anywhere this cycle. However, I do believe at this moment in time, if you are a savvy investor, this is going to be a phenomenal accumulation zone, especially into stronger performers. So as we've talked about a lot on this channel, or at least I have, at the end of the day, it really comes down to betting on the dark horse, which is going to win the race, right? If you bet on weak performers, it doesn't mean that they can't perform, okay in a very bullish environment. It's just that they're not going to perform as well as a strong performer in a weak environment. If something is performing relatively strong in a weak economic or macro environment, then that is a very good indicator that as those dips get bought up and they're seeing more strength, that it's going to perform extremely well in a good environment. And so one of those companies that we've shared on this channel recently is Defi Tech, DEFI.TECH. Okay, through one of their subsidiary companies, Valor, and you can find them at valor.com, VALOUR.com. They offer something called an ETP, or an exchange traded product, and they do this to companies or institutional investors who are looking to get access to single-sided digital assets or baskets of digital assets in a regulated manner. So this is huge because it's not just small players like me and you anymore who are looking to get access to this stuff on DeFi exchanges and then have to worry about taxes and dealing with the IRS or whatever that looks like. But now it's bigger players that want safe, regulated ways to access the same things that you and I have been buying. Things like XRP, Solana, Uniswap, Near, Chainlink, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and you name it. Now, one of the reasons I think they performed so strongly is because back in June 6th, they decided to buy back common shares of the company, and they were allowed under the terms of the NCIB to buy back about 27 million shares of their Canadian stock. However, if you're in the US, you're going to want to access their US stock, which we're going to show you here in a second. But this added a boatload of buy pressure. And when you do the math at an average price of about $2.24, according to a VWAP, that brings us to a total, and I'm looking at my phone right now, of $60.48 million when they already had a current company cash balance at the time of $69 million, which means they are really doubling down on themselves and buying into their own company because they believe in the future. Now, obviously, that buyback was going to affect the price of this share or stock, and the ticker is DEFTF. You can see it right here. But what I'm going to show you is how well this has performed relative to the crypto market, relative to Bitcoin, and just how good of a time it is to start looking at the stock as a serious investment. So back on March 13th, Bitcoin and just about the entire crypto market peaked or saw its local highs. Well, this stock continued climbing to new highs while the entire crypto market sold off because they offer baskets of digital products to the big players. And not just the big players, you can get access to the stock, you can access the ETPs through a broker or your bank, but at the end of the day, it's really the demand from the big players that moves things, right? That said, BTC USD, I'm going to pull up this line right here, and this green line is actually Bitcoin price action relative to the DEFTF ticker, or DeFi Tech's American stock. And this stock is up 239% since the local high on Bitcoin, while Bitcoin is down 26%. That is a massive difference. I mean, we're talking about 240 60 some percent. It's an insane difference. So this stock has really rallied and performed well while the crypto market hasn't. And then when you look from a daily time frame, you can see that this 50 EMA is not only trending up, but it's acting as a very strong support for the actual stock. So anytime we're in this range or even just below the 50 EMA, great time to start accumulating the stock. If we were to dump down into the 200 MA, which is actually this white line, that would be a really good buy considering it is still trending up. So whenever you see this MA trending up and you see the price above it, again, it is still in a bullish trend or has that bull momentum. And I do believe the stock is currently undervalued at today's prices when you look at a few other indicators. This company has been growing tremendously, okay? Valor, which is again a subsidiary company to Defi Technologies, on July 31st had a total AUM or assets under management of $837 million. That was a 43.7% increase in total. Then the revenues were $133.2 million and $128.2 million for 3 and 6 months ending in June 30th of 2024 compared, and you think about this is the insane growth that they're seeing compared to $7.4 million and $4 million respectively for the same periods the year before. Then in their latest announcement, they decided to partner with Professional Capital Management, which is led by a guy by the name of Anthony Pompliano. The partnership aims to deliver innovative ETF solutions that cater to the evolving needs of US investors. So now they're going to play with regulated crypto or digital asset ETPs for US investors where a lot of the money in the world of markets is, while leveraging DeFi Technologies and Anthony Pompliano's unique brand and market positioning to establish a strong presence in the North American ETF market. This is massive news because when you look at someone like Pomp, he is really followed. He's got 1.6 million Twitter followers, the majority of them major investors, crypto investors, smart money people. And then when you go to his website, you can see that he's actually got a lot of major investments, but also he's got a daily investor letter with 260,000 subscribers. He's got 50 million downloads on his podcast. He's got a YouTube channel with 560,000 subscribers. So when you add all of that up, that is a lot of marketing for the stock over with DeFi Tech. So whether you want to get access to their ETPs, go to valor.com and here you can see all of the offerings that they have, or you can go to DeFi Tech to learn more. And their stock, one more time, is ticker DEFTF, and it is performing really well, and we expect it to do really well into the end of the year, considering it is that dark horse that is outperforming even Bitcoin. So now let's dive into the important news surrounding South Korea and Japan and Ripple. Okay, if anyone was around at the time, 2018, early 2018, by the way, late 2017, you would have seen XRP peak to around $3.31 to upwards of $3.60, depending on the exchange. Well, the majority of that price action happened because of South Korea. The South Korean cryptocurrency market played a crucial role in bringing Ripple's market cap from $40 billion to $88 billion. Ripple was one of the best performing crypto assets of 2017, boasting a 360x increase in value. And at the time of them writing this, the price was $229, which means the market cap was higher. We're not going to dive into that right now, but we all know what happened. So for whatever reason, these players really bite into XRP. Even in this tweet right here, South Korea and Japan love XRP. And from the actual XRP, or Ripple, I should say, Twitter account or X account, Ripple is on the ground this week in Korea and Japan, starting off with a few key announcements, all in service of the goal to strengthen the foundations of crypto infrastructure to support blockchain utility and the usability for institutional adoption. This is some massive news, guys. Consider the fact that Ripple is going to be on the ground building the right partnerships and relationships with those major markets, and these were the very same markets that were responsible for previous all-time highs. Well, now that we've been in this long, 6.5 year, very tight range, it is very much possible that this could be the catalyst that takes us to new all-time highs. And it's not just South Korea. Garlinghouse highlighted Ripple's successful partnerships, especially in Japan. Since 2016, Ripple has worked closely with the SBI Group, a major financial company in Japan. Meanwhile, these partnerships have helped Ripple increase the use of XRP in Japan. Then, as recently as September 5th, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said Japan is committed to advancing crypto after meeting with Taira Masaki, a Web3 and AI-focused member of Japan's House of Representatives. And here is the image and tweet of him and the gentleman that we just mentioned. And finally, directly from the Ripple X account, Ripple even set up a university blockchain research initiative, added Korea's Yonsei University as their 58th global partner with a $60 million plus commitment to UBRI. This program is to drive academic excellence and best-in-class research through strategic report, technical resources, and grants. And if you want, you can check that tweet or link out right here. But here is someone from Ripple with the South Korean gentleman over at UBRI. So now to that interesting chart. Now, if we get some positive catalysts, whether it be Japan or Korea really doubling down on the XRP token, or whether we don't get an appeal from the SEC on the settlement and that lawsuit, then it really comes down to the price action, okay? And the price action is arguably going to come in before, which is going to prove the news. In other words, some insiders are probably going to know about something before everyone else. They're going to start to buy into the token, XRP, and as the price looks stronger and stronger and stronger, the news will come out, which will cause a lot of retail participants to really drive the price further up. And then at some point in time, maybe those institutional players, take some money off the table. Maybe they hold through the end of the bull run. It remains to be seen what happens then. But since we don't know, what we can focus on is what we do know. Here is that price chart of XRP versus Bitcoin. Okay, in other words, when this is going down, Bitcoin is looking stronger. And when the price is going up, okay, XRP is looking stronger relative to Bitcoin. Now, we've been in a long, strong range for quite a while here between point, 0.00003 down to 4 zeros and a 1. But whenever we hit this range right down here, it seems to be a good range to start buying XRP versus Bitcoin. So basically, since the lows here in June 5th of 2024, XRP has actually been outperforming or doing better than Bitcoin. Now, over the long term, it hasn't done, or at least over the last 6.5 years, it hasn't done that much relative to Bitcoin because of a lawsuit. However, we are looking like we are about to squeeze up to a new range. So I'm going to take this to a daily time frame, and I'm going to go ahead and take a few trend lines. The first trend line I'm going to draw is right here. And as you can see from this trend line, and we'll even go like right here, this makes a little bit more sense. From the lower side, we're going to take a trend line right here, and you can see that we are squeezing into quite a tight range. Now, since we just hit our recent lows, whenever we get a flag or a squeeze like this, and you could even argue, okay, we have a range right here. Whenever we start to squeeze into a range like this, it's highly likely we start to break to the upside. So it's very much possible whether Bitcoin starts to dump and XRP holds its ground, this should start to trend up. If Bitcoin, let's say, pumps, then XRP should likely pump harder. And again, that would cause this price right here to trend up because this price would show that we are relatively strong to Bitcoin. Now, the reason this is so important to pay attention to is because typically what follows contractions is expansions. So something like this will likely happen after we've contracted over this period of time. And as we start to get into this very tight little range, this is a very positive and bullish indicator for XRP. So start loading up those bags. And one of the best ways you can compound on those bags or reduce your volatility if markets sour is by going to bullrunners.com. Okay. And once you do that, you subscribe to learn how to earn more crypto in less than 10 minutes with the #1 play to earn XRP game. It's a phenomenal game. It's very simple. It literally takes 10 minutes a day. Nick explains it right here in this video. And you can do it in 3 simple steps. You get an XRP wallet, you get your game pieces, you play the game, and you earn that crypto. The crypto is directly convertible for XRP. XRP. So it's absolutely beautiful. You can convert it whenever you want, but it's a great way to take your XRP that you are currently hold or plan to hold, okay, and put it to work. So now it's not like, I wouldn't say it's earning interest, right? But you are earning crypto, which is something that you could sell to either stack back into your XRP bag, or you can just continue playing the game and stacking that crypto and really doubling down. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you, but it's a phenomenally great way to put your XRP to work, again, to reduce your volatility or to compound on those gains if we start to see a massive breakout and a bull market through the end of the year. So go to bullrunners.com. Link is in the description below. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave us a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, my friend. Goodbye.